Welcome to Making the Case. I'm Yodit. Lydell Grant, a Houston man sentenced to life in prison, has been found not guilty by the state's highest criminal court. This comes 10 years after he was first convicted and a year and a half since he was released from prison.
Once again, this is a huge day for me. I thank God, I always got to put God first because it was him who I had when I didn't have nobody else, And I knew that this day was going to come, and I just didn't know when. But I knew this day was going to come because I was actually innocent. I didn't commit this crime at all.
Grant was wrongfully convicted of murder back in 2012, stemming from a stabbing outside a local bar. The prosecution's case was essentially based on eyewitness testimony. Grant maintained his innocence from the beginning, and with the assistance of the Texas Innocence Project, authorities matched the DNA from the case to another person. He was released from prison on bond in 2019 with his conviction set aside, and just last month a court declared him innocent, which presumably makes it easier for Grant to be compensated for the years he spent behind bars. I've got Mr. Lydell Grant's attorney, Mike Ware, with me tonight. Mike, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
We were supposed to have Lydell, but I'm hearing that he's having some audio issues, so hopefully he'll join the conversation soon. All right, so talk to us about Lydell's case and how he wound up in prison for a murder he didn't commit.
Well, unfortunately, this is the sort of tragedy that happens all too often in our system. Fortunately, in Lydell's case, ultimately we were able to prevail. It was, a case of the police deciding way too soon who the perpetrator was and then making a case on Lydell Grant rather than trying to solve the case. Ultimately, 6 eyewitnesses were totally mistaken. And because of that, Mr. Grant was, convicted of a crime he was completely innocent of, had nothing to do with. And like I said, fortunately, in his case, we were able to identify him as someone who was wrongfully convicted and ultimately able to prove that he was innocent and able to prove who the actual perpetrator of this murder was.
Mike, it's so infuriating that a lot of these types of cases where individuals are found to have been innocent of a crime they never committed is that it all hinges on DNA. And in this case, that DNA was reanalyzed. So what happened in the trial when prosecutors used that same DNA to convict him?
Well, the DNA was a mixture of DNA that was collected from the victim's fingernails. And because of the nature of the way the murder took place, that was highly relevant DNA, and there was an unknown donor connected with the victim's fingernails. And at trial, the Houston Police Department forensic analyst misstated that Lydell could not be excluded from that mixture under the victim's fingernails. And in fact, when we got the case years later, and my students and I were analyzing this case, we could see that he was clearly excluded as the donor of the DNA under the fingernails. And then we were able to get the original raw data to a company called Cybergenetics that has a state-of-the-art software for analyzing DNA mixtures. And they were able to exclude Mr. Grant. They were able to identify the profile of the actual perpetrators, or perpetrator rather, and we were able to upload that profile into the national database and identify whose DNA it was and ultimately who the actual perpetrator was.
Mike, I'm being told that we have Lydell Grant by phone. Lydell, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Loud and clear.
Glad to have you on, Lydell. So I wanted to ask you, obviously none of us could imagine what you've been through, to have gone through a trial and be found guilty based on flawed DNA analysis and unreliable eyewitnesses, and spend a decade in prison and knowing you were innocent the entire time and no one seemed to care. Describe to us what it was like for you, please.
I mean, to be honest with you, and blunt, it was a living hell. I was living in suffering. I was going through some harsh punishment. I was going through some cruel and unusual behavior by TDC guards because they feel as though that they can continue to do corrupt things behind the walls to any individual that's incarcerated, and they get away with it because it's, once again, it's a cycle that's ran and covered up by.
Lydell, I know when you were initially released from prison on bond, the prosecutor hadn't dismissed the charges against you, so it may not have felt like a true vindication. How did it feel last month to finally have the court officially declare you innocent of any crime?
I mean, it felt the same way I felt when I went in. I was actually innocent going in, and I came out actually innocent. Things never changed for me. I mean, just because they, went ahead and exonerated me 18 months later, I mean, it was just an awful feeling that I had to feel because I don't think it should have took that long. You can go back and look at previous cases before mine, and you'll see that it didn't take that long for, some of the individuals to get exonerated. I don't understand why, in my situation, when we presented what was required by the CCA, I mean, they got requirements that you must meet. You must meet in order to, go further. Well, we met them. I think we over met them requirements, and yet still they wanted to hang that case over my head and keep me from moving forward and living my life. It had a very, very strong impact on me as well as my family.
I'm sure. Now, I mean, your story is one of a remarkable strength. I mean, you never stopped fighting for your freedom. And I mean, you even penned countless letters in jail, hoping someone would listen and take a serious look at your case again. What gave you the will to keep going after spending a decade inside?
I mean, you got to understand, man, being black and destituted in America, I mean, that's something that I feel like every black young male go through. I've been fighting all my life. I've been fighting discrimination. I've been fighting stereotype. I've been fighting. So I'm a fighter, but not a violent fighter. I'm a fighter for standing up on what I firmly believe in. And I knew for a fact, and I believed in myself. When everybody else was, they had something to say about it. They didn't know if I did it or not. But I knew that I didn't do it. So therefore, it wasn't no laying down. It wasn't no giving up. Those were never my options. My main focus was to stay focused on getting up out of prison and don't get caught up into the prison lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now,
Mike, I know the fight isn't quite over. Tell us what's next in this case.
Well, fortunately,
I think it already have been done.
Yes.
You can't quote me on it, but I might be wrong, but I think they have already removed the charge off of my record.
Yeah.
We looked it up and it wasn't no longer there, but I don't know if that was, I don't know, but we looked for it. It was no longer there. The next step is, moving forward in the courts and make sure that they carry out what's entitled to me as being a wrongful convicted murderer.
In terms of what's next, Lydell, I think I was referring to the compensation fight that you all are currently in right now. Mike, I think you were going to talk about that.
We on the same page. That's what I was referring to.
I don't anticipate any problem with that. The statute is pretty straightforward. Lydell meets all the prerequisites for the compensation. He's been found actually innocent by the Court of Criminal Appeals. The Harris County District Attorney's Office has dismissed the case against him based on his actual innocence. So it's just a matter of getting all the proper paperwork, collecting all the information. We want to make sure that he gets credit for every day that he spent in. And so I don't really anticipate a fight on that. And then, of course, the final step is to get his record expunged so that he's not shown to be falsely shown to be a convicted murderer on the various databases.
All right, Attorney Mike Ware and Lydell Grant, best of luck to you, sir. Thanks to you both.